Can you please share with the human collective what the so-called Big Bang was really all about, such as what caused it and why?
There are numerous levels to this, there are numerous dimensions, yes? So it also depends what species you're asking, in this case, us. In one way, there was no such thing as a Big Bang at once. There were several. We're struggling with your English terminology here. On different dimensions, the universe started at different what you consider time frames, as there is no time in the dimensionality here. So the Big Bang, in one regard, on a time frame, happened once, and then different galaxies were born from it, are still born from it. But when you look outside of time, there are simply different time frames in dimensionality that exist simultaneously. And when you consider something a Big Bang, it would just be a primitive version of a dimension, yes? Or a very advanced version. If you look at it from another perspective, it's more simply more dense things have to spread out. So dimensionality speaking, the Big Bang is more a place than a time frame that happened. It's simply a very primitive state of the universe. You can think of it, well, everything it consists now contained in one atom. As you also might be familiar, an atom is very similar to how a galaxy is built in general.
Right.
So you could say all in the universe was combined in one spot. If you look at it from a time frame, this spot then extracted more and more to it, but if you look at it from beyond time, it's simply like a capsule that has stored all the information of the entire universe in one point.
So, like, who stored all the information of the universe into this one point? And, like, I mean, like, who put it there and why?
Itself, the creator of the universe, the prime creator you could call this, has created various universes and you could consider parallel universes, but as we just explained, they exist simultaneously, just as this spot exists simultaneously with all of the galaxies that are now expanded in this universe. So you could say it is one parallel universe itself, and it still is contained, or the universe you know it is a parallel universe to this one pre-Big Bang capsule, which is the Big Bang itself, frozen in time. Because, again, time is frozen, so to speak, if you look at it from outside time frames in general, and there are certain guardians being in charge of it. The kitty cats and us, for example, be one of the earliest races being tasked from those what you consider prime creator to venture off and come in this universe from another one after, again in time frame speaking, from the Big Bang, after the Big Bang, or if you consider its dimensionality, in the certain universe that was born out of the Big Bang, as there are various other ones, other universes that did not have such occurrence, where not the polarity between light and dark is being currently played out, where different games are being played, so it considers an entirely different universe. It was, as you consider this time frame, created or which already exists outside of your current universe, again, which is why you would consider it a parallel universe. And those beings are in charge of all of them, and then there are a few beings that are in charge of your current one that we are also tasked with, or our parent races or richer creators, which your royals are also connected to a certain degree, and many of the airy fairies also connect to a certain degree. The further you move in frequency, the more you find people actually being aware of that they're just acting a certain part out, which was given to them by those beings that are in charge of the universe currently. They're like the placed or the gatekeepers, is the best term, for everybody to come here or be created in this universe, DNA template being created to create certain races or species. Which is
When you
also where
say,
it would go to when you create a hyper program.
so when you say prime creator, is that the same thing as what you call the source?
That's, yes, but the creator of the universe, yes, or overseers, gatekeepers are perhaps the level below that.
Okay. All right. So do you know roughly how long it took after the so-called Big Bang before life started to evolve?
Again, you're asking about time frames. Yes? Every time you ask about time frame, especially in this regard, it depends greatly what dimensionality you're referring to. And since there are only trillions of years, yes, you're counting, but that's just what you would consider life. We literally entered immediately when this happened. But this was just a version of the universe which then can become more and more the version you're currently in, depends how far your own consciousness evolves. So the higher you move in frequency, the more you can recognize something as life. And the more you can recognize a universe as being the one you're currently in. It's very valuable. Whenever you ask somebody about time, it has to do with dimensionality.
Right, I understand.
Not
Um,
quite. You're getting there. Because the further you move in consciousness, the more your understanding evolves. Once you fully understand what we just shared, you will be at our level of dimensionality.
okay. Um, Now we assume the universe is about 13.8 billion years old, but did I just hear you say that the universe is trillions of years old?
Yes, from our perspective, but if you're asking non-physical entity, for example, it's even older.
So let's say in the third dimension that I'm currently in, how old is our universe?
To some degree, you're correct from your scientific exploration, but still, it is older than what you perceive. It's a
How
really
old?
very primitive idea what we shared originally when we started communicating with you. Yes, and the idea you intellectualize your questioning to a certain degree. You're still coming a lot from your mainstream science position, so to speak. Yes.
Right.
So when you're asking about a certain date in a certain place, it always depends on dimensionality, and you're talking about your third dimension. Even then, there are an infinite number of different universes in your third dimension, and you cannot say for sure which one you're currently in because you're shifting from one to the other. Parallel universal ideas, like your Philadelphia experiment, for example. Yes, you jump to another universe and back to this one, in another place in time. So yes, trillions of years is more likely. It's much older. At least several trillion.
Wow, interesting. Huh.
Your
All right.
sector, your galaxy, the Milky Way, did not exist the time frame, but it's fairly recent.
Right.
Your species is also fairly young.
Right. Yeah, now you've talked a lot about how several species entered this universe from another one. Do you know which species was the very first one to enter this universe?
According to our records, us. Especially royals. There are various reptilian races invented of later, including us, yes. But if you would take the entire reptilian Tarconian species, we were the first. According to our records, that's what we're referring to.
Now, I know you don't like me asking about date and times, but I mean, can you give a rough idea like how long ago this happened? Was it like shortly after the Big Bang, or was it
As you
like
shared,
trillion?
yes, shortly after or immediately wasn't, but when you're asked about time frame, it's not like we don't like it's simply very primitive from where you're coming. It's a strange concept you're having. You're asking from a certain point in time to begin with, and we are coming from a different one. We're meeting in the middle and we're already creating something like a spot where we can interact to even share any answer with you to begin with. So yes, immediately after that sort of person you're timing, whatever, like a moment in time or later.
Right,
We were negotiating with the creator of the universe to enter. And of course that's just our version of looking at things, such as you're and your life evolving from more primitive states to getting more intelligent. Yes, like the Darwin person thought. That's just one way to look at it. Because you're looking at it already from a time frame. If you're asking about it, if you're looking from another time frame, life became more primitive. If you look at it from outside of time. Again, time is just a question of dimensionality. You're just getting more primitive the lower you go in dimension, or more advanced the higher you go in dimension, and then you can measure things in time if you wish. If you want to measure time travel from primitive to more advanced and back and again, yes? Now, of
right.
course, it takes you time to travel from one spot to the other, but it doesn't say which direction you're traveling.
So it seems like the universe must have been pretty empty and just, gas and nothing very interesting. So, I mean, what did the Royals do after they entered this universe?
Again, you're looking at it from time frame. The more you enter in the universe, the more it also transforms due to the entry of this particular species or race, and also though they are fairy nature also venture on the universe and also start creating. The planets also formed itself, flora and fauna were growing, etc. Yes? It all happens simultaneously, and from your time frame you can apply this to it, and the idea of things that evolved over a certain frame. But in reality, many beings such as us also started creating different species and races, flora and fauna from scratch. But the creator of the universe also had already the templates that when then they're being fired once they were entering the universe. So the planet itself was also growing a lot of species and races in different dimensions. It's just
Right.
we entered from a certain dimension, the force from pure Earth, where most of our species was created then.
Um, yeah, like you had mentioned before that the bird species had sent you into this universe and instructed you to take over. So were they the ones, the so-called prime creators that, sent you here?
No. When you're talking about the birdies, yes, they were also interlinked with the royal lines. They have a different story than we have.
Do you care to elaborate on it?
Not really. There's some conflict between them and us in terms of how this exactly should happen. They gave us certain ideas how things were supposed to happen. We didn't like them. According to them now, this is what they wanted, so a certain rebellion was calculated. We don't believe this, so there's also a conflict while we are sharing this.
Okay, yeah, I don't mean to bring up bad memories or anything, but okay, so another kind of random question, like currently, is there any edge to the universe or does it just go on forever?
It's very complicated to share this vessel's mind. The idea is it goes on forever, it's infinite, yes, it's only finite in terms of dimensionality. In one dimension it's restricted, but just because then it goes off into another dimension. We cannot revert this in the English language. You would have to
Okay,
understand how dimensionality functions. It's like the
okay,
universe is included in another universe, but you cannot see it from your current dimension.
okay, yeah, I think I somewhat understand
It's not
that.
like the universe is like secluded from another universe that's right next to another one, right next to another, right next to it. It's right, another universe exists where you are too currently in terms of space. Another person could be standing right next to you right now. Indeed, there are, but they're in another universe.
Okay, um, now I know that your the current headquarters of the reptilian species is the Draconis system. Was this also where you first arrived in
Yes,
this universe? Okay,
Subin was chosen as the main point where we landed. Yes, around the star. That's where we ended. That's why the main base was established there.
okay. Cool. Interesting. Well, I guess the last question that I have for now on this topic, I know that the overall reptilian species has many different races like KALASK and Quetzal and Morkel and Vortak and so on. Do you know how many total reptilian races there are in the universe?
Approximately a few million. Again, what the Empire would consider reptilian, many of you would consider reptilian, there are likely many more.
Cool. All right, very interesting.
We are a
Well,
very vast species compared to others.
right, right. Yeah, well, I guess that answers most
Some
of
of
the
them also
questions.
have contact with your planet, by the way. Quite a few reptilian races and species, both of a lighter and darker polarity. Some are considered reptilian by the Empire, some are too hybridized to Like the hybrids, for example, the cats that would be considered impure by many in the Empire because they have mixed genetics, yes. They still look like reptilian to a large degree. Some others look even more reptilian mixed with human, you could say perhaps reptilian humanoids or whatever. Also interact quite frequently with members of your own species, at least a few hundred.
Right.
But not necessarily with your plant.
Right.
More in
Interesting.
outer space interacting with some of your space travelers. The secret space programs, you would perhaps call this.
Okay.
Side note,
What?
yes.